Elderly woman pays 85 to black cashier at midnight, then a shocking truth changes everything. In the heart of East Willow, where the moon hung low and the silence of night cast an eerie blanket over the streets, an unexpected scene unfolded at the old Vendôme market. At exactly midnight, an elderly woman, her skin a wrinkled roadmap of age, walked into the store, her frail hands gripping a crumpled dollar bill like it was lifeblood. The bell above the door chimed, breaking the stillness, and a young black cashier looked up, his eyes wide with anticipation. There was something peculiar about that night. Every shadow seemed to whisper secrets, and the air buzzed with an unseen tension. As she shuffled toward the counter, her shoes scuffing against the tiled floor, her frail figure cast a long shadow that danced under the flickering fluorescent lights. 85 cents, dear, she said, her voice shaky, but laced with an inexplicable urgency. The cashier raised an eyebrow. Miss, are you sure? You don't want anything else? His tone was cautious, the hairs on the back of his neck prickling. The woman nodded slowly, her eyes glistening with something unnameable, a mix of fear and determination. The clock ticked audibly, each second stretching and twisting in the mounting suspense. Just then, the back door swung open and a gust of wind howled in, rattling the items on the shelves. Startled, they both turned toward the sound, and in that split second, the cashier's heart raced. What was lurking in the dark beyond the doorway? It felt like a scene from a horror movie, the kind that haunts your dreams long after the credits roll. He glanced back at her, only to see her staring at something behind him. Her eyes widened, lips parting in a silent gasp. What had she seen? A figure? A shadow? The cashier swallowed hard, his chest tightening. He reached for the crumpled coins, already ice-cold in his palm. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The old woman took a deep breath, as if pulling strength from the shadows around them. You don't understand, she whispered, her voice quaking as she leaned in closer. I'm here for more than just a transaction. Her words hung in the air like a noose tightening around anticipation. The cashier's pulse quickened, and he fought the overwhelming desire to simply walk away. What was she really saying? Suddenly, the tension snapped like a rubber band. An impatient voice broke through. Simon, Sam, what's taking so long? It was a young man, arms crossed, eyes bored, oblivious to the electrifying atmosphere. But to Sam, the cashier, the world was spinning, everything felt different. The clock ticked louder. The woman's old eyes met his, holding an unyielding fear locked in their depths. Please, just listen to me, she pleaded. It's not just about those coins. And with that, the night shifted, promising secrets waiting to be uncovered. What truth was buried beneath the mundane, and how far would he need to dig to find out? The understated drama was only just beginning. Sam's heart drummed in his chest as he caught the old woman's penetrating gaze. The air felt charged, electricity dancing along his skin, overwhelming his senses. He motioned to the young man in the doorway, who remained oblivious, stuck in his own world of impatience. Just give me a second, Sam called back, his voice steadying against the rising tide of anxiety. He turned again to the woman, who was now leaning farther over the counter, her breath barely a whisper. What do you mean? What is this really about? The woman glanced around as if she were measuring the shadows, confirming that they were indeed alone in the store. They're coming for me, she said, the tremor in her voice more pronounced now. And if they catch me? Her voice faltered, a distant pain flickering across her face. Who? Sam's curiosity tinged with a sense of dread. He wanted to believe it was just wild paranoia, but the weight of her stare felt like a brick pressed against his heart. The world outside, a creeping chill settled in the universe around them, amplifying every whisper of the night. Darko, she breathed, and the name slipped past her lips like a curse. His people are relentless. He didn't believe I'd do it, but I did. Her eyes blazed with fervor, a mix of fear and defiance igniting something deep inside her. Did what? Sam pressed. A sense of urgency tinged his words, and he found himself drawn deeper into her tangled web of mystery. She leaned in closer, her frail frame trembling like a leaf caught in a storm. I stole from him. A fortune worth more than your wildest dreams, and now he's sending hitters to clean it up. Sam's mind raced. He thought about his own life, working long hours and chasing after tips to pay off bills. A stolen fortune sounded ludicrous, but the tension in her voice painted vivid images of danger and desperation. But you're here to buy a pack of gum? He asked, trying to connect the dots. No, she hissed, her voice sharpening. I'm here to warn you. They'll come for anyone who gets in their way. All of us, like you. A cold shiver ran down his spine. In their way? What do you mean? The young man at the door jutted his chin impatiently. Seriously, Sam, hurry up. I need to grab something before it closes. Ignoring him, Sam leaned in, adrenaline spiking through him. What about me? Why even tell me? I'm just a cashier. Because, she leaned closer still, the coins, those are part of it. You're in this now, whether you like it or not. You can help change everything or let it all go to waste. Suddenly, the doors of Vendôme Market swung open with a violent force, crashing against the wall. The shadows that had danced silently began to flicker, revealing dark shapes moving through the entrance. Sam froze, every instinct screaming at him to run as he realized the figures silhouetted against the light were not friendly. The woman's eyes widened in horror. They found me. She gasped, her words filled with desperation. Sam instinctively grabbed the coins and reached for the door behind the counter, adrenaline racing as he glanced back. What do I do? Run! She shouted, and in that instant, he understood the depth of her fear. But as he turned to flee, he knew he was no longer just a cashier in East Willow. A storm was raging, and he was caught right in the center of it. The truth was pushing against him, heavy and unrelenting. And with every step he took, he could feel the shadows closing in, whispering dark secrets that promised to unravel his world forever. What lay ahead? Would he lead them to the old woman or run straight into the heart of danger? A choice loomed like a ghost, and the night was just beginning to unveil its deadly embrace. Sam bolted through the cramped aisles of Vendôme Market, his heart pounding with urgency. The sound of heavy boots echoed behind him, as if the shadows themselves were chasing him down. He glanced over his shoulder, and the dark figures were nearly upon him, their faces obscured, menacing shapes just a heartbeat away. Hold the door! The young man shouted from the entrance. But Sam was past him, running harder now, the old woman's warning thrumming in his ears. She had thrown him into a world he knew nothing about, but it was clear he could not turn back. Where do I go? He whispered, panic clawing at his throat. The coins clutched tightly in his fist felt like lead, heavy with responsibility, drenched in danger. They were more than currency now, they were the gateway to something bigger, darker. He burst through the back door of the store, into the alley behind Vendôme. The cool air hit him, sharp as a knife, but he didn't stop. The alley stretched out like a labyrinth, shadows dancing as the street lamp flickered overhead, casting a sickly glow. Think! Think! He muttered, jogging into the dark, trying to remember the layout of the area. He could risk hiding or he could run, but the reality of his situation was pressing down, making it hard to breathe. This isn't happening. He trailed off, unwilling to accept his reality. Just then, a loud crash erupted from inside the store. The young man's voice echoed, frantic and distant. What the hell? It only spurred Sam onward, the urgency pouring adrenaline into his veins. Turn left. A voice echoed in his mind. The old woman's words, "Lead them away," came back to him, crystal clear. He took a left down another alley, praying he would find a way out. He reached the end of the alley and skidded to a halt. A high wooden fence loomed before him, blocking his path. His hands were sticky with sweat, heart racing in his chest as he felt the thumping footsteps near again. Panic surged within him. He had to get over that fence. With one swift motion, he planted his foot against the rough wood and clambered up, throwing himself over the top just as he heard the voices of the encroaching figures. "Split up. Find him." One of them shouted, and the world fuzzed around Sam as he landed hard on the other side. He stumbled into a small yard. The faintest hint of light spilled from a window above, casting a comforting glow against the encroaching darkness. He darted to the side of the house, trying to quiet his breaths as he pressed against the cool siding, straining to listen. Footsteps thudded through the alley behind him, the voices melded into the murmur of apprehension. "He has to be around here, find him." There it was again, a sense of impending doom. The realization hit him hard. He was caught in a deadly game he didn't understand, tethered to a woman whose secrets now intertwined with his fate. They were not just after her, they were after him too. Sam's hands curled around the coins in his pocket, glistening against the dim light. What power did they hold? Were they truly the key to something greater, or just a dangerous bait? "What the hell is happening?" he whispered to himself, pulling the coins out, inspecting them under the fractured light. Each one seemed to pulse with mystery, daring him to delve deeper, to find the truth hidden within this chaos, but could he? As the dark figures drew nearer, he felt the weight of choice press on him, forging a path forward. What awaited him, solace or destruction? Would he confront the shadows or run further into the night? With breath held, he crouched behind the shrubs, heart racing. And then, a sudden noise behind him, a creak, a whisper, the soft crunch of gravel. Something or someone was lurking in the yard, and the night was not done with its secrets just yet. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness, and Sam's heart plummeted. Was this another threat? Or a lifeline that could unravel all that had just begun? The figure stepped into the weak light, and Sam squinted, trying to make sense of the silhouette before him. It was a woman, but not the elderly figure he had met earlier. This one was younger, dressed in dark clothes that blended with the shadows. Her hair was pulled back tight, emphasizing sharp features and intense eyes that darted about, scanning the area. "Who are you?" he whispered, the grip on his coins tightening. "I'm here to help," she said, her voice low but urgent. The words flowed like a lifeline, snapping Sam back to the moment. "But we don't have much time. They'll find you if we don't move." "Why?" Sam pressed, fear knotting in his stomach. "Who are they?" "Assassins," she hissed, glancing over her shoulder. "We need to get inside." She motioned to a door set into the side of the house. Before he could respond, she grabbed his wrist and pulled him toward the door. Sam's heart thundered in his chest. Assassins? It felt surreal, like a scene from a movie, but reality hit when he heard the distant shouts of the men from the alley. They were getting closer. "Go," she urged, shoving him through the door. He stumbled inside, the warm air hitting him like a blanket. She followed, closing the door behind them with a quiet thud. "What do you mean they're assassins? Why do they want me?" Sam's voice was a frantic whisper, a million questions swirling in his mind. The room was dim, illuminated only by a flickering bulb that swayed overhead. The small space was cluttered, filled with boxes and dust, but the woman seemed unbothered. She moved swiftly to the window, peering through the slats of the blinds. "There's something they want, something you've got," she said, her face taut with urgency. "Those coins you're holding, they're not just coins, are they? They're a key." "A key to what?" Sam's voice shivered with confusion. The weight of his predicament was starting to suffocate him. "An ancient artifact," she replied, her eyes narrowing. "Legends say it can unlock secrets and powers beyond comprehension. Falling into the wrong hands means destruction." "Destruction?" He felt a lump hardening in his throat. But why me? I don't know, the woman said, pulling out a small, antique dagger from her belt. The blade shimmered ominously. But trust me when I say you need to protect yourself at all costs. We don't have much time before they realize we've gone. Before he could process her words, a loud crash echoed from the door they just used. The men were here, forcing their way in. Panic surged through him, and he flicked his eyes between the woman and the impending threat. Do you have any more of those coins? She whispered urgently. They could buy us a moment. They're all I have, Sam said, swallowing hard. Then we need to use them wisely. Follow me. She moved swiftly toward the back of the room, motioning him to stay close. As they reached a small trapdoor leading to the basement, Sam hesitated. Something in her voice nagged at him. Wait. If you know about the coins, what else do you know about me? Her eyes turned serious, searching his for the truth. Everything you need to know will come out in due time. But for now, trust me. The door splintered under a heavy kick, sending splinters flying. Now! She shouted, throwing open the trapdoor. Sam dove down, the darkness enveloping him. He landed hard on a dirt floor, scrambling to find his bearings as she followed, then the voices burst through the small space. He can't have gone far. The sound lingered like an echoing thread above, heart racing. Sam looked up to see the woman's determined face just above him. This is just the beginning, she promised, holding her knife tightly. If we get out of this, we'll find answers together. But deep down he wondered would running only lead him deeper into a nightmare? The air was thick with suspense, and every shadow felt like a hiding place for fear, for the truth yet to unfold. As they crouched in the dark, he heard the creaking boards above. He couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't alone. The stillness of the basement consumed them. Sam strained to listen, but muffled voices above felt like a distant storm ready to break. His mind raced, weighing his options, even as the heavy thud of footsteps echoed around him. Do you think they saw us? Sam asked in a voice barely above a whisper, the grip on his coins tightening. We don't know, the woman said, scanning the dimly lit space. But we can't stay here. They'll search the house, and if they find us, we won't have another chance. She took a deep breath, her eyes glinting in the shadows. We need to find a way out. Now. Adrenaline surged through Sam's veins as he stood up, brushing the dirt from his jeans. He followed her deeper into the basement, each step echoing with urgency. The air felt thick, laced with the scent of old earth and something more sinister. Why were you in the alley? She asked suddenly, her voice a blend of curiosity and caution. I was just looking for some change, to buy something, he stammered, memories of that earlier encounter flooding back. I didn't think anything of it. That's where you went wrong, she replied, her brow furrowing. You stumbled across something they're willing to kill for. Clenching his teeth, Sam could feel the weight of his coins pressing against his palm. But how did you know I'd be there? I've been tracking them for a while now, she admitted, glancing around the dank space. And you didn't strike me as the type to be involved. But every rippling effect leads back to the coins. Me? He shot back, voice laden with disbelief. I'm just an ordinary guy. Ordinary guys don't draw assassins, she snapped, her grip unwavering on the dagger. You're involved now, whether you like it or not. As they crept further into the darkness, Sam spotted a shape in the shadows, a pile of old crates stacked against the wall. There. He pointed, hope flaring within him. Maybe there's a way out through those. She made her way to the crates, her knife ready. Help me move them. They grabbed the edge of a crate, straining together, but even as they heaved, their surroundings felt constrictive, as if the walls wanted to fold in on them. The muffled voices grew louder, punctuated by more crashing sounds. Panic flooded through Sam again. They're coming. Just a little more, the woman urged. With one final heave, the crate tipped over, revealing a small, dark passageway. Light! Sam whispered, spotting a candle flickering in the corner, almost mocking their desperation. No. We don't have time, she insisted, pushing him toward the opening. As he ducked into the passage, the enormity of the situation hit him. Fear gripped his throat. If I get caught we won tea, she insisted, squeezing his shoulder. You'll take the coins with you. They can't find you. What if they still come after us? Sam questioned, unsure. Then we fight back, she replied, steel lining her voice. But if we run, we can at least buy ourselves some time. They crawled through the tight space, the sound of distant footsteps echoing like thunder in Sam's ears. Each breath felt heavier, haunted by the ferocity above. Suddenly, a loud crash resounded from the basement entrance. The men were back, causing the floor to tremble under their weight. He's here. Search everywhere. The urgency surged as Sam felt her hand push him forward faster. We can't stop. Not now. Adrenaline surged as they finally emerged into a dim alley, the night air wrapping around them like a cold embrace. Where do we go now? Sam's mind churned, every instinct screaming to run. Anywhere away from here. She urged, eyes flickering with determination. But first her voice trailed off. A shadow moved in the corner of Sam's eye, and he turned just in time to see a figure slip from the darkness. Their eyes locked, recognition dawning, and Sam felt his heart drop. Who are you? He yelled, but the silhouette was gone, vanished as quickly as it had appeared, swallowed into the night. The eerie stillness resumed, the air thickening with unspoken tension. Did you see that? He gasped, panic creeping in. Yes, she replied, glancing back. At the darkness. And we're not safe yet. We need to keep moving, but whispering thoughts wrapped around Sam's mind, the realization hitting him hard. What if it was someone from my past? Before she could respond, an explosion of footsteps came crashing through the alley behind them. Move! She shouted, sprinting forward, but Sam hesitated, caught between the past and the uncertain future that loomed ahead. What awaited them in the night? They were far from safe, and he still didn't understand why he was being hunted. As the footsteps grew closer, he knew one thing: this wasn't just a nightmare. It was only the beginning of something far darker. The alley loomed ahead, a tunnel of shadows twisted with potential danger. Sam's heart raced, pounding against his ribs like a caged animal. Each thud seemed to echo the panic rising within him as he and the woman ran, the heavy footsteps behind them growing ever nearer. Keep moving! She shouted, her urgency slicing through the tense air like the edge of her dagger. They dashed down the narrow passage, jagged bricks scraping against Sam's arms as he scrambled to stay close behind her. The cold night air churned with odors of exhaust and something rotten. Just beyond the confines of the alley, the world pulsed with sound, cars honking, voices laughing, oblivious to their peril. Where do we go? Sam gasped, a breathless plea mingling with desperate cries. She spared a glance back. Just up ahead, their SA street with lights. We need to blend in. They won't follow us there if we can just lose them. The weight of possibility tangled in Sam's chest. He could feel the warmth of those coins nestled deep in his pocket, a precious burden he couldn't escape. Whatever forces had converged on him, they were tracking more than just him. They wanted those coins. Suddenly, the woman halted, dragging Sam back just as he was about to push ahead. Wait! She hissed, pressing back against the brick wall. She pointed to the end of the alley. A pair of dark figures loitered, scanning the street entrance, their eyes hungry predators searching for prey. Do you see them? She murmured, her face tense. They'll be watching this way. We can't go out there, not yet. Sam's world shrunk as threats boiled around him. Then what do we do? His voice wavered, caught between the fear of the men and an instinct to interrogate the woman standing beside him. You've been tracking them, right? Who are they? They're a syndicate. The kind that doesn't take kindly to anyone who crosses them, she answered, voice low and intense. They believe you've got something that belongs to them. And what if I don't? Sam's words clung to the air, hanging in the balance of uncertainty. Anyone seen by them, carrying those coins, they're dead men walking. We need to keep moving before they make this alley their own hunting ground. With no time for revelations, Sam nodded, allowing her to guide him deeper into the shadows. As they turned a corner, the sound of their footfalls echoed, each step a whisper of urgency. The alley suddenly opened to a bright street, lights flickering in the night like stars disheveled by the earth's grip. Glancing over his shoulder, Sam felt a wave of panic crash over him as he thought he spotted one of the men slipping out of the shadows. They're coming! He shouted, his breaths quickening. Not yet. We have to be smart, she urged, eyes darting around for any escape routes. In front of us, there's a diner. It's busy at this hour. We'll blend in. Just follow my lead. Heart hammering, Sam nodded. They broke into a sprint, weaving between pedestrians, desperately trying to appear like ordinary human beings, caught in the mundane churn of life. They reached the diner, lungs burning, and slipped through the door, the smell of coffee mingled with greasy food and chatter wrapped around them like a warm blanket. Sam felt a rush of relief, but had barely settled when glancing back, he saw the alley exit and two figures waiting just outside. I think they've come in, he whispered, anxiety tightening his throat as he turned to the woman. What now? Stay calm. Her voice was steady, even as her eyes glinted with concern. If they're here, they'll draw attention. We can use that to our advantage. Just as Sam turned to scan the diner, a piercing scream cut through the air, slicing into the chatter like a knife. A woman stood, her hand pressed against her throat, staring at the door as if it were alive with terror. Something's wrong, Sam managed to breathe, confusion roiling him. But before he could process the unfolding chaos, the door swung open, crashing against the wall. The silhouette stepped inside, dark and predatory, transforming the cozy diner into a predator's den. Where are they? One of them growled, eyes pinned to the room like a spotlight searching for the guilty. It was then Sam realized, he wasn't just running from danger, he was stepping into a nightmare that had just begun. What awaited him in the clutches of these men? Would his life be snuffed out with a heartbeat, or could he find the courage hidden within to turn the tides? Chaos erupted in the diner, an invisible tension hanging thick in the air as the figures stepped further inside. Sam's pulse quickened, each heartbeat seeming louder than the last. The moment his gaze locked with one of the intruders, a chill raced down his spine. The man's eyes were cold, calculating. What do we do? Sam whispered, the words barely escaping his lips. The woman beside him didn't flinch, instead, she steeled her resolve. We stay low. Blend in. If they think we're just patrons, we might slip away. Just as she spoke, the scream of the woman echoed again, piercing through the murmurs and clinking silverware. The man, in a dark jacket with sharp features, turned at the sound, fixating on the source. His eyes narrowed. You. What's wrong? The woman, trembling, pointed toward the door like it was a monster hiding just outside. They're coming for us. Shut up. He barked, glancing back toward Sam and the woman. She grabbed Sam's arm tight, shaking her head subtly. He knew they had to remain unnoticed, but the fear plucked at his nerves like a haunting specter. The diner staff looked around, confusion playing on their faces as they seemed to process the situation. The tension had morphed the simple act of sipping coffee into a potential death sentence. Listen, the intruder snarled, clearly agitated by the commotion. His voice dripped with malice. We know someone in this joint has something we want. So, who's hiding? Sam's heart raced faster. Every instinct screamed at him to bolt, yet he remained frozen, eyes darting between the woman and the door. He felt the weight of the coins in his pocket, a reminder of the danger they attracted. Move to the back, the woman whispered urgently. We can slip out through the kitchen. Sam nodded, adrenaline fueling a sudden rush. But before they could disguise their escape, the man took a step closer, eyes scanning every corner like a predator with its prey in sight. Just then, the diner door swung wide again, this time admitting 3 more figures cloaked in darkness. One of them wore a baseball cap pulled low, shadows masking their face. Sam barely had time to absorb what was happening before he heard a voice rise above the crowd. "Is anyone here lying?" It boomed with an authority that twisted the air. Eyes shifted nervously, no one wanted to be the one focused on. The woman's hand squeezed Sam's again. "We need to move, now." They started retreating backward, limbs stiff with urgency, until Sam brushed against a table. Spattering coffee went flying. "Clean that up," barked the server, now caught between concern and the threat in the room. Sam barely heard it as he and the woman edged away. Ducks on a pond, they were relentless in their resolve. Sam could hear the chatter rising, the diner patrons casting desperate glances toward the unfolding chaos. Suddenly, the intruder with the dark visage turned sharply toward them. "You two! Stop right there!" Panic tore through Sam, and he grabbed the woman's hand, dragging her along as they dashed toward the kitchen door at the rear. In their dash, they caught a glimpse of the man's face, grimy and hungry, and Sam could bet they had made eye contact, an unspoken shift of danger passing between them. "Go! Now!" she hissed as they pushed through the swinging door, slamming it behind them. The kitchen was a blur of heat and frantic movement. "Where's the fire escape?" Sam panted, eyes wide, scanning the space. "Over there." She pointed toward a small door adorned with a red exit sign, anxiety flipping in her voice. The sounds of chaos grew further away, but uncertainty tangled alarm in Sam's gut. They reached the door, and just as she swung it open, a voice bellowed from the diner behind them. "Get them!" It wasn't just a command, it was a promise of pursuit, weaving fear into the fabric of their escape. The world outside was dark, and the alley loomed like a deep abyss, waiting for them to plunge back into the shadows. They burst into the night, but ahead of them stood another threat, one that left Sam's heart suspended in disbelief. A police cruiser rolled slowly down the street, lights flashing, innocent of the darkness creeping in just behind them. "Should we call for help?" he gasped, choking on his breath. "No," she replied sharply. "We don't trust anyone right now." But looking at her, Sam felt a rising wave of doubt. Could she be trusted? Did she hold secrets far more lethal than the ones lurking behind them? As sirens began to wail in the distance, sounding closer, a chill settled on Sam, solidifying as dread seeped into his bones. The weight of the coins remained heavy in his pocket, an unyielding reminder that they had only just begun this dance with danger. What secrets were buried beneath the surface? Were the coins the key to a deeper nightmare? Or, perhaps, was it already too late to turn back now? The alley smelled like grease and regret. Sam's heart thundered as he pushed forward, pulling the woman along. The police sirens pierced through the night, a cacophony of danger. Every instinct in him screamed to run, to hide, but he was trapped in a decision that felt monumental. "We can't outrun them." Her voice trembled, and Sam felt the cold grip of fear tightening around them. "We need to find a place to hide." But where? The alley stretched endlessly in both directions, littered with empty boxes and forgotten thoughts. Sam glanced back, the diner receding into the background, though dread loomed like a specter lingering behind them. Adrenaline coursed through him, but doubt gnawed at his mind like a hungry rat. "Over there." She gestured toward a shadowed doorway. Sam squinted into the gloom, making out the faint outlines of an old storage building, its windows dark, but standing ominously. It could be their sanctuary or their tomb. "Let us go," he whispered, urgency sharpening his voice as they slipped into the doorway. Instantly, the weight of night wrapped around them like a thick blanket. The air was stale, filled with the scent of must and mildew. Once inside, they paused. Sam pressed his back against the wall, ears straining at the sound of shuffling just beyond the door. The woman leaned in, her breath warm against his cheek, but fear blazed in her eyes. "What now?" "Just wait," Sam replied, praying the noise outside would fade, but it only grew louder. He could hear footsteps thudding against the pavement, voices rising in anger. Suddenly, light spilled through the crack beneath the door, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the stale air. The outside chatter intensified, punctuated by the sound of heavy boots stomping toward them. Sam's heart pounded in his chest, a prisoner of his own body. "Please don't let them find us," she murmured, and he felt her tension radiate through him. It wasn't just fear, it was a darker emotion that seeped into the corners of his mind. Why was she so terrified? "What do they want?" he asked, needing to know. "I don't know if I can tell you. But if we get caught, it's not just about you and me anymore," she said, her voice breaking as if she were fighting back tears. "It's bigger than that." Before he could respond, the footsteps halted outside the building. Sam's breath hitched, his senses sharpened, every sound seeming amplified. The voices outside were not alone. A low, menacing growl vibrated the air, sending chills down his spine. "Check the alley," commanded a voice that Sam recognized. It was the intruder from the diner, the one who had locked eyes with him, the predator. They can't have gone far. A sudden realization knocked the breath from Sam's lungs. The purpose of the confrontation inside the diner wasn't just chaos. It was a hunt. They were searching for something specific, and he was a part of it whether he wanted to be or not. "What did you do?" he pressed urgently, eyes darting to the shadows, desperate for an answer. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time," she whispered, voice trembling. "I saw something I shouldn't have." "Like what?" he prodded, the urgency of the moment tearing them apart. "Something about the coins," she stammered, squeezing his hand tighter. "They have secrets. Deadly ones. And they'll stop at nothing to get them back." Just then, the door rattled, and Sam recoiled, pushing the woman farther behind him, instinctively shielding her. He could hear the intruders muttering, voices full of anger and intent. "They must be in here. Keep looking." With desperation edging closer, Sam glanced around, searching for a way out, but the only escape route was the door they had entered through. There was no time to think. The whispers of danger encroaching on them left a palpable fear in the air, and with it came a daunting question. Would he be putting his life at risk by trusting her secret? Or was he already too deep in the web to escape? As the door jiggled again, Sam braced himself. The decision loomed like a knife's edge: make a stand or abandon all hope. What would he choose? And would it cost them their lives? The weight of their fate hung thick in the air, as the door creaked open, sending a shiver down Sam's spine. The darkness beyond promised secrets and peril. The door swung open slowly, just enough for a sliver of light to spill into the darkness. Shadows danced, revealing the silhouettes of men clad in black, faces twisted with frustrated determination. Sam felt the woman press against him, a fragile whisper of fear brushing his arm. He had to act. "Stay quiet," he murmured, barely daring to breathe. His heart raced, thrumming like a drum as he scanned the cramped storage room. Tall stacks of old crates loomed like silent witnesses, and he knew he had to make a choice: fight or flee. "Over here." One of the intruders barked, and Sam felt a jolt of panic. They were closing in. The woman's grip tightened on his hand, pulling him toward a narrow gap between two crates. There was no time left to think. "Now," he urged, leading her through the opening. They stumbled forward, the dust stinging his eyes as they crouched just out of sight. The intruders murmured to one another, their voices low but urgent, searching for them with the relentless precision of wolves hunting prey. "What did you see?" Sam hissed, his forehead beaded with sweat as he cast a glance toward the faint outline of the door. "I can't tell you here," she began, but the tremor in her voice betrayed her. "If they find us, we won't have a chance to explain." Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the other side of the room. One of the intruders had kicked over a stack of crates, sending them splintering to the ground. Adrenaline surged through Sam's veins. They had to move. "Follow me," he whispered, edging toward a window in the far corner. If they could make it outside, maybe they could lose them in the chaos of the streets. "Wait. There's no guarantee we'll be safe," she breathed, an urgency creeping into her tone. "I'm not just running away from them. I'm running from something bigger." He turned to her, a mix of fear and frustration boiling inside. What could possibly be bigger than this? But before she could answer, the floor creaked ominously, betraying their position. The intruders were no longer just searching, they were hunting. Heart pounding, Sam shoved aside the last crates, creating a gap wide enough to escape. "Go," he urged, and she hesitated. "I don't want to leave you. Just trust me." He felt a surge of desperation, a primal instinct to protect her, even as he wrestled with his own fate. With a deep breath, she nodded and slipped through the opening. He followed closely behind, but as he leapt onto the fire escape, a voice shredded the silence. "Get them." Panic twisted in Sam's stomach as he and the woman began to scramble down the metal ladder. The clatter of boots echoed from above, and the scent of sweat and iron flooded his senses. They were running out of time. As they reached the ground, the woman fell heavily, twisting her ankle. Sam felt his heart drop. "Get up. We have to go." He pleaded, but she winced in pain, clutching her foot. "Sam, I can't." From the alley, a low growl resonated, more menacing than before. The dog-like creature had caught the scent of fear, and with it came a wave of cold dread. "Keep moving. We can't let them." But a loud shout interrupted him. "There's one. Don't let them escape." Sam's mind raced, every choice ahead of him fraught with peril. He glanced back toward the entrance, then down the street where shadows loomed like monsters. "Stay behind me," he instructed, adrenaline coursing through him as he weighed their options. The woman nodded, panic etching lines across her face. "We need to find the coins," she whispered, sending chills down his spine. "They'll come after us no matter where we go, but we have to get the coins first." "You don't understand how dangerous this is." Sam's heart twisted. The weight of her words pressed down on him. The coins? What did she mean? Was this about theft, or something darker? At that moment, the growl echoed louder, and they had to move. Sam reached for her, even as the shadows closed in around them. They could either face the darkness together, or be swallowed whole by it. With one last look over his shoulder, he spotted the glimmer of what might give them a chance. An open garage door at the end of the street, light spilling into the alley. "Over there!" he shouted, pointing toward the faint glow. But as they sprinted, the haunting growl followed closely, intermingling with distant sirens. As they barreled forward, the truth pressed down hard. There was more to this chase than either could fathom. They would face condemnation, danger, perhaps even death. What came next would alter their lives forever. Would they find safety in the light? Or would the secrets lurking in the shadows pull them into oblivion? The next moment rushed towards them, heavy with fate. Sam's final leap toward the light of the garage door was fueled by pure instinct. The woman hobbled beside him, pain etched on her face, but determination burned bright in her eyes. They reached the door just as footsteps thundered behind them, a cacophony of chaos drowning out their thoughts. Inside the garage, darkness mingled with shafts of light from the street, casting long shadows against the walls. Sam's breath came in quick bursts as he scanned the clutter. Broken furniture and old appliances cluttered the space, but instinct tugged him toward a glint near the far end. "The coins! We need to get to them!" he shouted, urgency pushing him forward. "Don't leave me!" she cried, gripping her ankle as she stumbled. Sam turned back, seeing the fear growing in her eyes. He rushed back, taking her by the arm, just as that eerie growl echoed through the alley again, closer, more menacing. "Keep moving," he warned and helped her support her weight. They made their way deeper into the dimly lit garage, trying to dodge the heavy, ominous shadows. Adrenaline pumped through him, but so did an unyielding fear. They were still very much in the crosshairs. As they reached a pile of boxes, Sam yanked open a worn cardboard flap, revealing shimmering coins nestled within. "Here!" he exclaimed, yanking them free. The coins felt cool against his palms, yet a weighty sense of responsibility overshadowed every other feeling. What beyond their worth lay hidden within them? Suddenly, the garage door creaked sharply, and a dark silhouette loomed in the entrance, framed by the harsh light outside. Sam's blood ran cold. The man from the diner stood there, flanked by a group of merciless figures, anger flickering in their eyes. "There you are!" he snarled, voice booming as he stepped inside. "You thought you could escape?" Panic surged through Sam. "We have to go." He hoisted the woman again, feeling her urgency blend with his own. They dashed towards the back of the garage where a small door led to another alley. "This way," he urged, with heart hammering. They slipped through the back, edging into the cool night air just as the figures moved forward. Sam glanced back, only to see the alley illuminated by the glow of flashlights cutting through the shadows. "They're right behind us," he hissed. "Faster!" she cried, somehow finding a burst of energy despite her injury. They darted through the dark, navigating the labyrinthine alleyways, Sam's mind racing with possibilities. Each corner they turned felt like a dance with fate, the weight of the coins growing burdensome and precious all at once. Sam pulled her along, determination coursing through him. "We need to find help. We can't do this alone." But even as he said it, doubt laced his thoughts. Did anyone outside this chaos truly care? They turned a corner, breathing heavily when suddenly a loud bark shattered the night, a fierce dog slipping from an obscure doorway, lunging toward Sam with a snarl. He yanked the woman back, bracing for a fight. But then, as if sensing their plight, the dog skidded to a halt, its growl turning softer as it sniffed the air. "Wait. What if?" The woman's voice faltered, and for a moment, hope sparked. The dog wasn't their enemy, it could be a guardian. "Stay back," Sam warned, trying to assess the situation, but the dog stepped forward, gaze fixed intently on the coins nestled in Sam's palm. The beast's loyalty seemed instinctual, a spark of recognition passing between them. "You want the coins too?" Sam questioned, but the dog merely whined softly as if pulling them toward the entrance of another alley. "Sam, we can't linger," the woman insisted urgently, finally finding her footing as they moved deeper into the dark street. The pirate-growing shadows threatened to smother them again, but searching for the truth was what mattered now. They stumbled into an intersection filled with more confusion, people milling in and out of taverns. "We'll blend in here," she said, her eyes darting to the crowd, potential witnesses, allies, or perhaps distractions for their pursuers. "We just need to keep moving. They can't find us." Sam gripped her tightly, hoping against hope as they slipped into visibility, becoming part of the nightly bustle. Suddenly, that growl echoed again, a terrifying reminder that danger was still on their trail. But then, in an unexpected twist, a figure stepped in front of them, a burly man with a rugged face and a reassuring demeanor. "What is going on?" he asked, concern flashing in his eyes. "Help us," Sam blurted, and the woman chimed in. "They're coming for us. We need a place to hide." The man didn't flinch. "You're safe. Come with me." He led them into the back of the bar, a haven of sorts that felt away from prying eyes. As the door clicked shut behind them, Sam took a deep breath, the fear slowly ebbing into a cautious optimism that felt surreal. But he knew the night was far from over, and the coins in his pocket still throbbed with a pulse of their own, waiting to unravel the mysteries of this dark journey. "What now?" the woman asked, her gaze darting to Sam's hand. "We find out what these really are," he replied, the gravity of their situation settling in at last. "Whatever it means, whatever danger lies ahead, we'll face it together." And in that moment, through the fog of uncertainty, Sam felt more certain of one thing: they were not just running anymore. They were diving into the unknown, ready to confront the darkness and finally unveil the hidden truths without fear. The night was their canvas, and now it was time to paint their story with strength, defiance, and the light of hope that flickered ahead. This was their farewell to fear. This was just the beginning. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next explosive story. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. Your support is crucial. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this wild ride. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who crave these gripping conclusions.